You are watching the Dallas Cowboys Report by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey. All the questions coming in today, well, they're live. They're done live as part of our mailbag right here on the Cowboys Report. Some super chats to get things going. Drinking for any and all of them. The Lunatic. Can the 2022 defense lead us in an offensive-driven league? I think we have to remember that there's probably going to be some defensive regression this year because you're not going to force as many turnovers. Hopefully you're better at getting on the field on some third downs. That should even things out a little bit there. Won't allow as many big plays if Trayvon Diggs remembers to tackle some. If Parsons is still great. The concern is the offense regressed and didn't get any better. That's why people are like, defense going to lead us. I don't think defense alone can lead you to have immense success. Playoff team? Absolutely. If you want to do more than that, you need your offense to carry its own end of the burden. From Majestic YT, do you think the Cowboys will beat the Bucs? I do. On one hand, I feel better about playing them because, Brady's been away, because their offensive line is decimated, but then you lost Tyron Smith as well. The line in this game, by the way, is the Bucs -1. So it's a very narrow game in terms of the spread, which could make for an awesome outcome, but we'll have to wait and see on that standpoint there. Savage505 says, Tom, who do you have winning week 1, Cowboys or Bucs? I won't answer that right now because, to be honest, I have a predict the schedule coming up here in a little bit. That'll be available if you're watching live, only on Rumble. It was an exclusive live segment later in the week on the actual Cowboys Report. But when it comes to the Cowboys and the Bucs, I'll give you guys a chance to answer this question. Predict the score for me. Who you got winning and what the score is. Cowboys, Bucs, is it 28-24? Is it 24-23? Over, under, set at 50, so it's somewhere in that area. Let me know in the comment section. From Jake, how is our defense going to be? Haven't seen starters. No, they sat their key starters. It'll be a very similar offense from what you saw short term. I think it'll be a offense or a defense that relies on pressure, gets creative with the way things sit, and we'll see how things develop from that standpoint. I am curious to see how they fare. I think they'll be a really good defense, and they went from 26 last year in DVOA to number 2. Finish top 10, I'll be happy again. From Roy Williams, now that Tyler is our starting left tackle, we're going to left guard. Who's going to be our backup guard? Braylon Jones. Matt Farniok is going to be your backup guard option. So keep an eye on that name when it comes to roster cutdown time. I think he will be your backup center guard in the end. From Damilare Ganiu, if McCarthy does not call plays on offense or defense, then why does he screw up clock management so often? Go Cowboys. It's a great question. What is McCarthy's job is, I think, what's really being asked here. It's a couple-fold. It's clock management, which is a real problem. It is finding ways to have your team ready prepared, real problem in the playoff game. And it is finding ways to set the tone as a coaching staff for your players on offense and defense. And I don't think those were strengths of the team last year. And it's also avoid injuries, which for the most part they actually do a pretty good job of. From Jay Fitzy, yeah. Will Kellen have Zeke, Pollard, and Turpin on the field on any packages? Maybe. I think the issue is that the way you would deploy Pollard and the way you would deploy Turpin are a little bit similar. I think we'll have to see how that ends up getting deployed and worked out in the end, but it is an option, and it gives them some creativity. I think you will see all three guys, though, get reps on offense. We have a Rumble question, by the way, coming in live from Slick405. Hey, Tom, I know Tyron's out to the hamstring. Smith is out to the left tackle, Tyler Smith. Who's going to cover left guard? That will be Connor McGovern. Go to the offensive line depth chart here for me, Chugs, real quick. The offensive line is going to be, at least what I think it should be, barring some weird shit, Tyler Smith, Connor McGovern, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, backups with guys like, but not limited to, Matt Farniok, Josh Ball, Matt Beletsko, etc. From that standpoint. This is what I think your week 1 starting offensive line looks like. From Cowboys Real One, why not sign OBJ right now? Because he doesn't help you. right now. Odell Beckham is not healthy. Odell Beckham will not be healthy until October, maybe more like November. If the Cowboys are still in need of wide receiver help at that point, I would have no problems going out and trying to acquire Odell Beckham. The Cowboys then would be on the short list. Right this second, doesn't help you. So would you sign Odell Beckham? OBJ for yes and no BJ for no. Let me know in the comments section if you would go get Odell Beckham. From Tommy O'Donnell about signing Eric Fisher. How much would it cost Catboy? I'll say 1 year, $3.5 million. I'm not sure what's going on with Eric Fisher. He wasn't as good last year. He just kind of got beat a bit more than you want. I think there are some concerns over just that level. I think the money might be asking for too much. I'd call Jason Peters as well, but I'd feel better about my offensive line depth at minimum with Eric Fisher or even Jason Peters on that standpoint. From Caden Bramal, how many losses before the Cowboys would start to tank for Peyton? You don't have to tank for him. You can't tamper, but we know the Cowboys can. It's Jerry and Sean, their boys. They would find a way to communicate if they needed to. In terms of firing McCarthy, I do not think they will fire Mike McCarthy until they are formally out of the playoff race. At that point, anything is on the table, because if they don't make the playoffs this year, barring a freak rash of injuries like 2020, Mike's gone. A super chat from Jeremiah early. What about Eric Fisher for tackle? It was a similar question from earlier, but it was a super chat, Jeremiah, so I'll give you a beer cheers. I think there's some, like I mentioned, injuries, cost, and regression in play concerns there. All right, from Vince, on which spot would you pick CeeDee Lamb for your fantasy team, and how many receivers would you pick in front of him? I assume, not dynasty. Mid to late round 2 is where I think he should go. He's definitely a top 10 candidate from that perspective. From Darvin, should the Cowboys trade a second or third round pick to the 49ers for Jimmy Garoppolo? Dak needs a quality backup. I'll answer it, then I'm going to drink for it anyway. The answer is no. Why am I trading a second or a third rounder for Jimmy Garoppolo? He might get cut in a day. There's no reason to move that much for Jimmy Garoppolo and pay him $24 million. If he gets cut and wants on a 1-year deal, okay, sure. Moving my second best draft asset? No, absolutely not. Now, today's show is also available on Rumble. We have all of our uncensored version of our shows over there. It's at rumble.com/CowboysTV. We are behind our Giants channel. They are crushing us, making up some ground on the Raiders. Let's get it changed. Hit that big green button on Rumble and follow us for free. Exclusive live content over there as well at rumble.com/CowboysTV. From DeLunatic, hotter seat, Kellen Moore or Mike McCarthy? The answer is both. I think I'm going to go with Kellen. And here's why I go with Kellen. Because if I am Mike McCarthy and I start the year 2-4, 3-5, even 4-5, and my offense is the reason why, and I'm about to get fired, or I'm in danger of being fired, I'm firing Kellen and I'm taking over play calling duties. Otherwise, I don't care enough about my job. Mike picked Kellen. Okay, if Kellen's not working, he's got to make the change and be the offensive mastermind he was when we thought we hired him. So I'm actually going to go Kellen and then McCarthy, because if the offense is bad, if I'm Mike, I'm taking play calling away from Kellen Moore. From Marcus Arnold, if we are starting Tyler Smith at left tackle, are we saying Tyron Smith is done playing for Dallas? If not, how do you take Tyler out of that spot? Look, Smith might not come back this year, so we'll see. If he does come back, I got to stop saying last names. Tyron might not come back this year. If he does, unless Tyler was perfect or already a top 10 left tackle, stick him in at left guard. That's the route I would go if I were the Cowboys. I'll have a beer cheers for that one. From Rection, do you trust Josh Ball? I know what he's trying to do. Do you trust Josh Ball if he's at left tackle or right tackle if Steele doesn't do so good? No. Josh Ball, in the preseason, the only time we've seen him play real snaps, to be blunt, he sucked. I'm sorry. Like, Josh Ball was bad in the preseason. A sack, 5 hurries, 3 penalties, an awful run blocking. He got better each game pass blocking-wise, got worse run blocking. I think he's better on the right side than the left side, but if he's starting, I got visions of Chaz Green dancing in my head, and I don't like that. So with Josh Ball, what is your confidence level in him? 1 to 69, because you can't say 100. You can't say you're feeling better than 70 in terms of Josh Ball. So we'll do the meme number. 69 is the highest number you can put in for Josh Ball. Let me know in the comments section. JC Mando, which room is a bigger concern this year, receiver or offensive line? How would you fix it? Look, to be blunt, your path to fixing it is over. You missed your window in the offseason. It is the offensive line for me. Receiver will be okay in the short term. You know, you will be able to get back Gallup soon, and that'll end up being okay. And I don't love it, but it shouldn't be as bad as it was in 2018. The offensive line, though, of these 5, how many do you have blind, pure faith in? It's 1. It's Zach Martin. You can talk yourself into other guys, but let me put it to you this way. God forbid, knock on wood, I pray to God it never happens again. What if Zach Martin gets hurt? How bad is that offensive line in terms of being trustworthy? The O-line scares me. It is September now. The path to finding obvious upgrades and not having it cost all of your picks is basically impossible. Adam Ward says he wants to see a creative play with Micah Parsons at tight end. Fullback, running back, the Mike Vrabel touchdown play? Sure. Do it in the red zone. That way you don't risk more injury, but I'm down to throw the ball to Parsons, which isn't a fact I touchdown, but it's close to it. Bailey Gordon, will Mike McCarthy fire Joe Philbin early this year? Honestly, I'd be pretty concerned if they did, because like we all knew, Phil might not be the guy. We talked about firing him. McCarthy and Philbin have been boys for a long time. Those two trust each other. Philbin is McCarthy's guy and vice versa. I would be surprised if the Cowboys actually fire Philbin this year. Now, if you have Cowboys mailbag questions and you want to be a part of the mailbags, you got to be subscribed. Otherwise, there's really no way of getting your questions on the show. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe at youtube.com/CowboysTV. El Tino, Jimmy Johnson is to the Cowboys as Babe Ruth was to the Red Sox. They won a ring, though, after Jimmy left. With his players, but they did win a title. I still blame Rowdy. From Myers G, 59 News on the Bears linebacker, I assume you mean Roquan Smith. He's not going anywhere. He's going to play out the year. There will be no Roquan Smith trade, and frankly, I don't want the Cowboys investing that amount in him anyway. From Gary the Snail, who are some recent draft picks that have disappointed the Cowboys can trade for and save their career? Ooh, that's a longer video. Maybe we'll do one later in the week. It's a tricky conversation. Jeremy says Jalen Reagor in my ear because they're not going to cut him. I don't think there's going to be much value there in the end. I think it's going to be for a Reagor trade. You're not going to get much. Now, Andre Dillard, he mentions, that intrigues me because that'd be a left tackle option for you, but I'm going to play Tyler Smith there. $5 again from Marcus Arnold at 69, the live show. Jeremy, shot time afterward. Cheers to you. Follow up, if Tyron gets his spot back from Tyler this year or next year, the pick is a bust. He is the future at left tackle. As long as Smith is still... As long as Tyler Smith is still starting, I would not consider it a bust. I would argue it is more of a slower process there. Now, if he loses his job and isn't starting, I've got questions, because that to me would be, if Tyler Smith is healthy and not starting, somewhere along the line, that is an organizational failure. DJ Milton, starting corners, Diggs, Izzy, Brown, and Lewis. Cut Kelvin. We cut Taco before. Israel Mukwama's team is a safety, but it's Diggs, Brown, Lewis, Deron Bland, Nishan Wright, then I think Kelvin Joseph. Before we go, I'm going to ask you to bully the Cowboys into committing fewer flags because bullying works, and this is a good reason to do it. Type flags in the comments section to make the Cowboys have fewer mistakes this year.